Welcome to Payroll in a TallyPrime Example 1. In this section, we are going to look at the practical example for payroll in a TallyPrime. So the information I'm going to be read first. There are two type of information they provided for us. The first one is the company informations and policies. The second one is the employees' personal information and policies. There are two type of informations and policies they provided for us for the payroll processing. So the third, we have the steps, right? So this is the step 5 step for payroll process. So now we are going to look at that what's the information about the company as well the employees. The first one is the company informations and policies. We are the payroll of Sarjico Private Limited for the month of July 2020 and a company's account details as below. The opening balance is on 1st 7/2020 as below. The details: cash on hand 350,000, HSBC Bank 625,000, capital 975,000. The total allowance and deductions of the company. They provided pay heads and calculations base. The basic salary calculation based on the per month rupees, right? The overtime allowance based on a per hours rupees, and dearness allowance 20% for the earned basic salary. The food allowance per month based on the rupees. Medical allowance rupees based on the per month. Employees provident fund 12% for earned basic salary. It means that 12% on EBS. Employers contribution 8.33 or rupees 651. House loan user defined. It's based on the rupees. Traveling allowance 25% for EPS plus dearness allowance, right? The next thing is that the provident fund details, company code they provided for us, company account group code, company security code also they provided for us. Then employees attendant details, July month, employees name Shifan, Nihar, Fiham. So the employees ID and attendance work days 26 day, 24, 25 and OT 23 hours work, 420 minutes work, and then FIHAM 32 hours work. And OT rate per hours 190, 150, 160. The additional details: the July month has 27 working days. The company transferred the salary through HSBC bank check, and July salary paid by using check number 212. For the employees contribution, if the earned basic salary lesser than 6,500, the EPS, employees pension scheme for the employees contribution should be calculated 8.33 on EBS, and if the earned basic salary equal or greater than 6,500, the EBS pension scheme for the employer contributions will be 541 rupees. Rest of the amount will be post employees contribution EPF. So this is the information also they provided for us. Then the final information: Sifan 8,500, Nihar 10,500, Fiham 12,500 have taken as a house loan, and it should be deducted in July month salary, right? So this is the company informations and the policies. The second part is employees personal informations and policies. There are two type of workers in the company. The first one is factory workers, other one is office workers, right? And office workers. Under the factory workers, they have two workers, and under the office workers, they have one worker, right? So the first one is factory workers. The first person is Nihar. The name, date of join, employees ID, designations, gender, bank name, and bank branch, bank account number also they provided for us. And the salary calculations also the Nihar salary calculation base details they provided for us. We have to do it. And the second person is Fiham. The first person is Shifan. The second person is Nihar. The third person is Fiham. So the Fiham details also they provided for us, name, date of join, and the pay, head types and calculations base and everything they provided for us. Right. This is the 5 step for the payroll process. Right. So the first, before we are going to do the payroll process in TallyPrime, we should know how to create a company. And first I am going to create the company. So if I want to create the company, I am going to open the TallyPrime. So I am going to click the TallyPrime. Continue in educational mode, and you can see that the sample one company already existing right now. So I am going to be close the company. I am going to be shut the company. If I want to shut the company, click the F3, click here or press F3 into the keyboard. I am going to be press F3 into the keyboard, and it's coming the list of company, create alter, select shut. I am going to be shut the company, so I am going to click the fourth option, shut the company. The company name is sample one company. I am going to be shut, so I am going to be click and I am going to be press yes. So now you can see the first option is the create the company. I am going to create the company. So the company name, we know well that the company name is Surgico Private Limited. So I'm going to be copy here. Then I'm going to be paste here, and the mailing name also same. And the state I'm going to be choose Delhi. And other things are same. The beginning date is 1st April 2020, and I'm going to be serve the setting. If you want to be enable the payroll, you can enable the payroll here also. You can see here the under the payroll maintenance payroll. If you type yes, it will be enable into the TallyPrime. But now I'm not going to be enable the payroll here. Just I'm going to be show the company setting as usual default. Control plus A, the setting will be saved in your computer, and now you can see the Surgico Private Limited successfully created, right? So you can see here, if you want to create the payroll master, you can create here, and you can see there is no payroll option, right? As well, you can see in the alter also, there is no payroll options or payroll masters, right? So if you want to be, and here also there is no payroll sections. So if I want to be enable the payroll features in a TallyPrime, it's a very simple. First I'm going to be press the F11 into the keyboard, and you can see there one of the option is the payroll, and under the payroll you can see the maintenance payroll, right? If you want to be enable the payroll in a TallyPrime, you need to be select yes. I'm going to be select yes. Then I'm going to be enable the payroll statutory also. I'm going to be type Y. It means that S will be enabled, right? So the first we have to enter the provided fund of the company. So the company code, as I told you that we have company code. You can see here. The company code is this is one. So I'm going to be copy, and I'm going to be enter here. The company account group, you can see company account group code. This is the company account group code. So I'm going to be enter the company account group code. Then the final one is company security code. I am going to be enter the company security code, and I am going to be enter here. Then you can see everything is as default, and the type of the company is not government, so I'm going to choose the other, and other things are same. Now I'm going to be save these features. So Control plus A, the setting will be served in your computer, right? So Control plus A. So now you can see into the create button, there is one of the options will come, that is the payroll master. So under the payroll master, there are a variety of things are coming as well. If you look at the alter also, the one of the masters come, that is the payroll masters, right? Employees group, employees details also, everything it's a coming, right? So the next you can see in the display more button, display more report, you can see here statutory report and also payroll report also coming. It means that if we enable the payroll features into TallyPrime, these kind of features will become into your TallyPrime, right? So this is the very basic things. Now we are going to do the first step for the payroll process. As we discussed that the first step for the payroll process, employees group creations. Employees group creations mean we have to create the employees group. The second thing is that employees creations mean we have to be under the each employee's details into TallyPrime, right? So the first you can see, as per this company, there are two type of group, employees group. The first one is, you can see the factory workers. The other one is the office workers, right? So I'm going to create the company. If I want to create the company, it's a very simple. I'm going to go to the create button, and you can see the payroll masters and employees group. So as I told you that there are two type of employees group. The first one is factory workers. So I'm going to be enter the factory workers here. The factory workers, it's a coming under the primary, and I'm not going to be define the salary here, so we will define the salary later, right? So I'm going to be serve this. The second type of workers, the second type of employees group is office workers. You can see the office workers. So I'm going to be create the office workers group. So it's also coming under the primary, and I'm not going to be define the salary here. I'm going to be serve it. Right. So we have successfully created employees group. The second thing is that we have to be enter the employees details, that is called that employee creation. So you can see here there are three workers available in this company. So the first is Shifan, the second one is Nihar, and the third one is Fiham, right? Shifan, Nihar, Fiham. Okay. So now we have to enter the employees details into TallyPrime. So if you want to be enter the employees details, we can go to them. So I'm going to be back. If I want to be back, I'm going to be press the escape key button, and I'm come back. So under the payroll master, you can see that the second option is employee. It means that employees details we can enter here. So I'm going to be click. The first person is, what's the person? The Shifan. So the name is Shifan. I'm going to be type the details for the each person. So the first person is a Shifan, and he is coming under the which worker? Factory workers, right? So I'm going to be choose factory workers, and his joining date is 1st of April 2020. As usual, I'm not defined salary here. So the employee's number, you can see here the employee ID available. So I'm going to be copy, and I'm going to be paste here. The designation is he is the worker, right? So I'm going to be type worker. The function don't know, location don't know, gender is he is the male, right? And the father's name, other things I don't know. And provide bank details, we have his bank details, right? So I'm going to be enter yes. So the account number, you can see here, this is the Shifan account number. I'm going to be enter here, and bank name is I'm going to be create the bank name. What is the bank name? The chiffon HSBC bank, HSBC bank, right? And the branch is main branch, right? So the main branch. So I'm going to be enter list, and other things are same. I'm going to be serve this person, right? We have successfully created chiffon. So the next person is, the second person is Nihar. So I'm going to be create the Nihar details. So the name is Nihar. I'm going to be, and the second person is Nihar, and he is working under the which group? Factory worker. So I'm going to be press the back space, and I'm going to be press again, enter the key, and you can see he is the working under the factory workers. And then his joining date also same, 1st April 2020, and I'm not going to be define the salary here. The employees number, you can see here, employees ID, factory workers FW and 002, right? I'm going to be enter the designation. He is a worker, just worker, so I'm going to be enter worker, and the gender is male, and I'm not going to be put other details. The other details, bank details are available, so I'm going to be enter yes, and we have to be enter the details, bank details. You can see here this is the account number, so I'm going to be enter, and bank name is, what is the bank name? HSBC. I'm going to be put the HSBC bank, and the branch is main branch, right? Main branch. Then I'm going to be end list, then I'm going to be serve this person, right? The third thing is that the third person is office workers. Office workers, he is working in the office, so the name is Afiham. So I'm going to be enter the details. The name is Afiham. I'm going to enter Afiham. He is working under the office, right? So I'm going to be choose office. If I press backspace key, it's come the options, the office workers. I'm going to be choose. Then date of joining is 1st April 2020. I'm not going to be define the salary here, just enter the employees number. You can see here OW003. So I'm going to be enter. The designation is he is a worker, so I'm going to be enter the details. Then gender is he is a male, and they provided account details, so I'm going to be type yes, and then account number is, you can see here, the bank account number. I'm going to be enter. Then bank name is HSBC bank, right? And the branch is main branch, right? So the end of the list, and I'm going to be serve this person. Now we have done the first process is create employees master. Under the create employees master, we have created employees group creation. Other one is employees creation. So you understand how to create the employees group as well the employees details, right? If you want to be edit the employees group and employees details, it's also very simple, right? For an example, if you want to be edit the person employees group, first you have to come to the alter option. So if I want to come to the alter option, I need to be go to the gateway of Tally. So I'm going to press the escape key button, and you can see this is the gateway of Tally. The second option is alter. If you want to alter anything else, it means that if you want to edit anything else, you need to come to the alter option. So you can see here the payroll master. Under the payroll master, everything is available. We have created employees group and employees details, right? So if I want to edit the employees group, I can click here. You can see we have created two workers group, the factory, other one is office. So if I want to edit the factory workers, I am going to click the factory workers and you can edit, right? So for an example, if you want to edit whatever, you can edit. After that, Control A, other one, if you press the Control A, the changes will be served, right? So as well, if you want to be edit the employees details also, here you can edit whatever, right? So if you want to be put the function, if you want to be location, if you want to put the location, you can put. If you want to enter the email details, you just enter, right? So after that, you have to be served. The second step for employee payroll process is create payroll masters. Under the create payroll masters, unit creations and attendant types creations. You can see here the unit creations mean we have to be measure the employees work, right? So if they work in the overtime, we have to measure their work in the hours and minutes. So we have to enter the unit under the unit creations, the minutes and hours we have to enter, right? So attendant types mean if we come to the work, we are give the salary. So we have to create the present as a attendance type. Other one is if they work in the overtime, we have to give the salary. So we have to create two type of attendant types. The first present, other one is overtime I am going to create, right? So if I want to create the unit creation, I need to come to the gateway of Tally, and you can see here the first option is create, and you can see under the payroll the third option is units. So now I am going to create the units. The symbol is first I am going to create the unit hours, minutes we have to create. So the first one is hours. So the symbol is HRS. The formal name is hours, and the number of decimal place is 2, right? I'm going to be served this one. The second one is minutes. Minute symbol is MIN. The formal name is minutes, right? And then decimal place is 2, and I'm going to be served. Now we have to be define the hours and minutes, because the Tally don't know 1 hours how many minutes, right? So now we are going to define the hours. If I want to define the hours, I'm going to be press the backspace key. You can see the type of unit is compound. If I choose the compound, the first I'm going to choose the hours. I'm going to define the hours, so I'm going to choose the hours, and you can see the example 1 kilogram of 1000 grams. Likewise, we have 10. 1 hours equals to 60 minutes, right? So I'm going to be served this one. So we have done the unit creation in a TallyPrime. So now I'm come back to the employees master, and then now I'm going to create the attendance type. Attendant types, I'm going to create two type of attendant types. The first one is present. If they come to the work, we will give the salary. The workers working in overtime. So if they're working in the overtime, we have to give the overtime, right? So the present is one type of attendance, other one is overtime, right? So I'm going to be create the first attendant is present. It's coming under the primary attendant types. This is coming under the attendance only with the pay, right? So I'm going to be choose, and I'm going to be serve this one. The next one is overtime. The overtime, it's coming under the primary, and attendant type is based on the productions, right? So I'm going to be select the productions, and under the production you can see here we need to be select the units. The units I'm going to choose hours of 60 minutes, because if I put the hours of 60 minutes, if I put minutes or hours, the Tally will be convert, right? So that's what I'm going to be choose the hours of 60 minutes. I'm going to be serve this one, right? we have successfully done the second process, create the payroll masters, right? Under the payroll master we have created unit creation, other one is attendant type creations, right? So if I want to alter these units and attendant types, you can press the escape key button and come to the gateway of Tally. You can see the second one is alter. So under the alter you can see the units and attendant type. If I enter the units, whatever units we created, it's coming here. If you want to edit, you can edit it, you can change it, right? But I'm not going to be changed because everything is perfect. So I'm going to be come back, and if I choose the attendant type, you can see here there is two type of attendant types. So if you want to edit, you can edit, but I'm not going to be edit because everything is perfect. So likewise we can edit, right? The third step for employee payroll process is create the pay head. You can see here in this example, the company has several pay heads. You can see the basic salary, overtime allowance, dearness allowance, food allowance, medical allowance, employees a provident fund, employers a contributions, house loan and traveling allowance. So these are the pay heads type we have to create to do this work, right? So if I want to create the pay head, you can go to the gateway of Tally, and you can see here the first option is a create. Under the create options you can see here the pay heads, the fifth option under the payroll masters, right? So I'm going to be click the pay heads. The first pay head is, what is the pay head? Basic salary, right? So I'm going to be copy this pay head and I'm going to be paste here. And what is the pay head type? The basic salary coming under the earning for employees. What are the allowance for the employees? It should be coming under the earning for employees. So I'm going to choose the earning for employees. The income type is a fixed, and it is coming under the indirect expenses of the organization. So I'm going to choose the indirect expenses of the organization. The affected net salary, it should be affected, yes. And the display name in a pay slip is basic salary. And use for calculation credit duty, no. Set alter income tax, no. And calculation type, it should be coming under the on attendance, right? Because we have already created attendant the present. So I'm going to choose the on attendance. And under the attendance we have to choose the present. So the calculation period is usually 1 month. The basic salary we are going to give to the based on the month base. So I'm going to choose the month. And base of the calculations, user define. User define mean the accountant enter the value every month. So I'm going to choose the user define. So the month, how many days the working, you can see in the informations, the July month has 27 working days, right? So it means that July month it's 27 working days. So I'm going to be enter 27 days, right? And the rounding is normal rounding and limit is 1. Then I'm going to be serve this one. So the first pay head we have successfully created. The second pay head, what is the second pay head? Overtime allowance. So the overtime allowance we have to be created. So if you look at the overhead allowance and overtime allowance, I'm going to be type the name is the pay head name is overtime allowance. So I'm going to be enter, and it is coming under the earning for employees, because as I told you the allowance and basic salary come under the earning for employees. So the income type is a fixed and it is coming under the indirect expenses for the organizations. Affected net salary, yes. Overtime allowance in the display pay slip, so as usual, and no. For the calculations of credit duty, no. And set alter income tax, no. And calculation type we have to choose the on productions, right? Because we give the overtime based on the hours. So I'm going to choose the on productions, and we have already created overtime in the productions type, so I'm going to choose the overtime, and its rounding is a normal rounding N1, and I'm going to be serving. The next one is dearness allowance. You can see the dearness allowance. The dearness allowance 20% for earned basic salary, right? So the dearness allowance calculate based on the EBS, earned basic salary 20%, right? So I'm going to be first enter the I'm going to create the pay head is dearness allowance. It's coming under the earning for employees. You know that this is the earning for employees, and this is the income type is a fixed, and it is coming under the indirect expenses for the organization. Affected net salary, yes, and it's showing the pay slip as a dearness allowance, and calculations credit duty used for the calculations of credited no, and set all income tax no, and calculations type, right? In this section we have to be choose the type of calculation. You can see here the dearness allowance calculate based on the percentage, right? You can see 20% for earned basic salary. So if it is percentage, we have to choose the compute value as computed value, and the rounding is normal rounding, then 1, right? So now we have to select the compute. Which compute? So I'm going to be choose the specified formula, and you can see the list of pay head. They inform that they calculate the dearness allowance, earn basic salary. So I'm going to choose the basic salary and end of the list. And you can see here specified formula basic salary. The effective date is 1 April 2020. This is based on the percentage. You can see 20% from the basic salary, 20%. You can see here 20% on basic salary. So I'm going to be type 20, and I'm going to be serve this one. The next one is food allowance. Food allowance, it's a per month. It is a flat rate, right? So I'm going to be enter the pay head is a food allowance. It's a coming under the earning for employees, and it's a fixed, and it is indirect expenses for the organization. I'm going to be choose the indirect expenses for the organization. Affected net salary is name to be displayed in a payslip food allowance, right? Then use for the calculations of credit duty no, set alter income tax no, calculations type it is a flat rate. It is a, if it is fixed rate, we have to choose the flat rate, and then calculation is based on the month, right? Then I'm going to be choose the normal rounding, then 1, and I'm going to be serve this one. The next one is medical allowance. Medical allowance based on the flat rate, right? So I'm going to be create the pay head is medical allowance. It is coming under the earning for employees. Its income, the income type is fixed, and it is coming under the indirect expenses for the organization. Affected net salary, yes. Medical allowance, no. And the calculations type is it's a flat rate, because the fixed amount we are going to be given, right? So flat rate, and the calculation is based on the month. Now I'm going to choose the month, and rounding is normal rounding. Then the limit is 1. I'm going to be serve this one also. The next one is employees provident fund. It means that EPF. So it is a 12% for earn basic salary, right? So I'm going to be type that. I'm going to be type employees contribution EPF 12%. So I type that employees contribution for EPF 12%. It is coming under the employees statutory deductions, right? Because this is the statutory deduction for the employees. So I'm going to choose the employee statutory deductions, and statutory pay head statutory pay type is, it is a PF account, Provident Fund account, and it is coming under the current liability because this is the current liability for the organization. We get the employees, if it is get the employees fund, this is the one of the debt for the organization. So that's what I am going to choose, the current liability for the organizations. Then we have to be give to them in the different way, EPS plus EPF, right? So we will discuss later, right? So it is coming under the current liability, and the affected net salary, yes, and the name of the display as usual, employees contribution EPF 12%, and the rounding is a normal rounding, and the limit is 1. Now we are going to we calculate the employees provident fund, calculate based on the earned basic salary. So I am going to choose the specified formula, what? Basic salary, end of the list. You can see here a specified formula, basic salary, the effective from 1st April 2020, and it's a percentage how much? 12%, then I'm going to be served this one. The next one is employer contribution 8.33% or rupees 651, right? So what is this? You can see the more details in the detail sections. For employers contribution, if the earned basic salary lesser than 6,500, the EPS, employers pension scheme for the employer's contribution, should calculate 833% on earned basic salary. And if the earned basic salary equal or greater than 6,500, the EPS, employer pension scheme for the employer's contribution, will be 541 on earned basic salary. Rest of the amount will be post employees contributions for the EPF account. It means that we have already taken EPF from the employees 12%, right? We have to give this amount in the different account. We have to deposit this amount in the different account, that is the EPS. If it is EPS lesser than 6,500, it should be 8.33%. If it is earned basic salary more than 6,500, it should be 541. The rest of the money will be deposited into PF account, right? So this is the information. So we have to create the two account. Employers contribution, employers contribution for EPS, right? EPS, what is the percentage? Pension scheme 8.33%, right? So I'm going to put 8.33%, right? This is coming under the what? The employer's statutory contributions, right? So I'm going to choose employer statutory contribution. This is EPS. EPS means pension scheme account. So I'm going to choose the EPS account. Then it is coming under the what expenses? It is the indirect expenses for the organizations. I'm going to choose the indirect expenses for the organization. And the affected net salary, it is not affected net salary, right? And the calculation is a rounding is normal rounding. I am going to choose the normal rounding, and the calculation is based on the specified formula, right? So I am going to choose the specified formula. This is calculated based on the basic salary, end of the list. So the specified formula is basic salary, but they have given the criteria that if it is lesser than 6,500, EPS should be 8.33, but if it is more than 6,500, it should be 541 rupees, right? So how can we enter these details? So the effective date from 1st April 2020, amount up to 6,500, it should be the percentage 8.33, and if it is more than 6,500, the value should be 541. value should be 541. Then I am going to be serve this one. Then they inform that the rest of the money will be deposited employees contribution for the EPF. So we have to create another account is EPF for the employer contribution. So I'm going to create the employer contribution EPF, right? EPF, it should be how much? 8.33 mean the total is 12% we took from the employees and we given as a EPS 8.33. So the balance should become 3.67%, right? 3.67% on the EPF contribution for the employer, right? So the total is 12%, the EPS contribution 8.33%, and the balance 3.67% should become EPF contribution for the employer, right? So then I am going to be choose the type of pay head is employer statutory contribution. Under the employer statutory contribution, PF account, provident fund account I am going to choose. It is coming under the indirect expenses for the organization, and it's a normal rounding, right? Normal rounding, it's a 1. And then formula compute is specify the formula, right? Specify formula. And what is the specify formula? We took employees contribution 12% and we deposited 8.33 as a EPS, and the rest of the 3.67 should be EPF, right? So first I am going to choose the employees contribution 12% minus, it means a subtract employer contribution 8.33, right? And you can see here employees contribution EPF 12% minus employees contribution EPF 12% minus employer contribution EPF 8.33. The rest of the money 100% should be deposited into employees contribution EPF 3.67. So I'm going to be choose percentage 100%. Then I'm going to be serve it. House loan user defined rupees, right? You can see here the house loan they took Shifan 8,500, Nihar 10,500, Fiham 12,500 have taken, and the house loan it should be deducted July month salary, right? So we have to be add this pay head house loan. I'm going to create the house loan. So the pay head type is loan and advance, right? And it is a loan and advance for the organizer. This is the asset for the organizer because we have given for as advance. So I am going to be choose the loan and advance as asset, and affected net salary as house loan. It is as a user defined because we manually enter the value, right? So I am going to be choose the user defined value, and I am going to be serve this one. The next one is a traveling allowance. So the final pay head is traveling allowance. So it is calculated 25% for earn basic salary plus DA. DA means dearness allowance. So I am going to be enter this pay head also here. So traveling allowance, it's coming under the earning for the employees. It's a fixed. It is indirect expenses for the organization. And affected salary, net salary, yes. Traveling allowance display as a pay slip, okay. No. And the calculations type, you can see that this is a percentage, right? Percentage should be choose the computed value. I'm going to be choose the computed value, and then it's a normal rounding, and normal rounding is 1, and the compute is specified formula. I'm going to be choose the specified formula, and they inform that basic salary plus dearness allowance 25%. So we have to enter two pay head. The first basic salary plus at pay head dearness allowance. Alright. dearness allowance. You can see here basic salary plus dearness allowance. It's a percentage based on 25%. Then I'm going to be served this one. Finally we have to create one pay head. It's a salary payable, because after preparations of our payroll, so the first we transfer this salary payable account, because this is the current liability for the organization up to payment completely proceed, right? So now I'm going to create the salary payable account. So the name is salary payable. So it's not applicable, because this is not any kind of pay head. So this is just for I created for the current liability. So the under it is coming under the current liability. That's it. And I'm going to be serve it. So we have done all the types of pay heads. Now I'm going to be show you how can we edit or alter the pay head. So if you want to be alter, I'm going to come back to the gateway of Tally, and you can see the alter, the second options. Under the second options, the alter, the list of masters available. Under the payroll master, you can see the pay head. So if you click the pay head, variety of pay head which we created, it's showing. So if you want to edit anything else, you can edit. For example, if you want to edit the basic salary, you can edit. Then after that you have to serve it. That's it. So you can easy to edit, right? The fourth step for the payroll process is salary define, right? So there are two types of salary define we have to do. The first, group salary define, other one is individual salary define, right? So now we are going to do that group salary define as well individual salary define. We have already created the employees group as well employees details, right? We have to alter this salary define. You can see I'm going to go to the alter, and you can see the employees group. Under the employees group, factory workers, and it asking define salary details. I'm going to be enter right now the salary define, right? So I'm going to be enter. I'm going to be type yes, and effective from 1st April 2020, and I'm going to be choose one by one basic salary. I'm not enter the rate here. I just enter the pay heads. So then I'm going to be enter dearness allowance. Then I'm going to enter medical allowance. Then I'm going to enter the overtime allowance. Then I'm going to enter food allowance. Then I'm going to enter the traveling allowance, the house loan, and the employees contributions, right? Then end of the list, I'm going to be accept. Then second is office workers. I'm going to be define the office worker salary define. So I'm going to be type yes, and the effect is 1st April 2020, and copy from employees group. I'm going to be choose, and I'm going to be choose the factory workers, and everything is up here. Then I'm going to be serve. If I want to be serve, control plus A. That's it. So I'm going to be accept. Now we have done the employees group salary define. The next one is we have to be define the each employees, right? So if I want to be define the employees each employee salary, we can go to the alter. You can see the alter, and the employees we have to choose chiffon. So I'm going to choose the first person chiffon, and if you come here, you can see define the salary details. I'm going to put yes. If I put the yes, the window will be appear. So I'm going to be enter the date 1st April 20. Copy from parent values, and you can see everything. So I'm going to be enter one by one, right? So the first one is basic salary for chiffon 35,000. I'm going to enter 35,000. Then dearness allowance is based on the percentage. We have already entered. Medical allowance, how much? Medical allowance, you can see 3,000. So I'm going to be enter 3,000. Overtime allowance per hours 190. So I'm going to enter 190 per hours, right? Food allowance, how much? Food allowance, you can see 4,500. Then traveling allowance is the percentage. House loan, it's a user defined, so we will look later. So the employee's contribution 12%, employer contributions 3.67, employer's contribution 8.33. It's already we have set. So I'm going to be end of the list and serve it, right? So if I want to serve, Control plus A, it will be served. The next person is, who is that? The second person is Nihar. We have to define the salary. I am going to be choose the Nihar. So here I am going to be type yes, and then effective 1st April 2020, and then copy from the parents value, and now I am going to be under the rate. So the basic salary, you can see the Nihar 40,000. Then dearness allowance percentage, medical allowance, how much? Medical allowance 3,000. Then overtime allowance, we can see here overtime allowance 150 per hours. The food allowance, how much? 4,500. Traveling allowance, house loan, EBF, everything is already set. So I'm going to be serve this one. So Control plus A. Nihar also we have done. The next person is Fiham. So next person, Fiham, it's a office worker. So I'm going to be under the details. I'm going to be set the salary details. So yes, and effect 1st April 2020. Then copy from the parents value. Then basic salary, how much? 38,000. So I'm going to be choose the 38,000. And the dearness allowance, it's a percentage. Medical allowance, how much? 3,000. We have to enter. Then overtime allowance, we have to enter overtime allowance 160 per hours. Then food allowance, how much? Food allowance 4,500. Then traveling allowance, we have already set the percentage, and other things the same, and end of list. And I'm going to be served this one. Control plus A, it will be served. So now we have successfully defined the individual and group salary defined. The final step is process payroll. So under the process payroll, first we have to be attendant process we have to do. The second, payroll process we have to do. The third is payment process we have to do, right? So the first is we have to do the attendant process. If you want to be enter the attendance, come to the gateway of Tally and you can click the vouchers. Under the vouchers, you can click the other vouchers. Other vouchers, you can see there is two vouchers. It's enable, that is the payroll vouchers. First one is attendance, other one is payroll vouchers. So I'm going to be enter the attendance in the attendant vouchers. I'm going to be click. So the first I am going to be change the date. We are going to be pay the July month salary. So I am going to choose the date is 31st July 2020. So I am going to be set. Right. So the first we have to be check how many days they work. We have the details about the attendant details, employees attendant details. You can see the employee's name Shifani Hard Fiham, employee's ID, attendant work days 26 days, 24, 25. The working days 27, but the attendance working days Shifan 26, Nihar 24, Fiham 25. And overtime also they have done 23 hours and 420 minutes, 32 hours, and OT rate also they have provided for us. So now we have to attendance we have to create it. First attendance we have to enter, or we have to process the working days, other one is OT. So separate attendance we are going to do. So the first I am going to enter the working days attendance. So the first I am going to click the autofill. So I am going to click the attendance autofill. Voucher date is 31/7/2020. Then I am going to choose the all items. Attendant productions type. First I am going to enter the present. It is that working days. So I am going to be choose the default value 0 and employee's name. Based on the employee's name I am going to be do. So first Fiham how many days? 25 days. You can see Fiham 25 days. So I am going to be enter 25. Then Nihar 24 days. Then Shifan is 26 days. 26 days. So now I am going to be serve this one. The second attendant is overtime we have to enter. So the second attendance overtime I have to enter. So first I am going to be change the date 31st July 2020. Then I am going to click the autofill under the attendance autofill. 31st voucher date is 31/7/2020. Then I am going to be choose the all items. And attendant is we have already done the present. Now I am going to enter the overtime. So default value 0 and the employee's name. So the value we have to enter. So the first person is Fiham. You can see 32 hours. So we have to choose the 32 hours. Right. The Nihar is working 420 minutes. Right. It's a very important 420 minutes. So I am going to enter 420 minutes, not hours. I am going to be type MIN, minutes. So if I enter the minutes, it's automatically convert 7 hours. 420 divided by 60 minutes, it's coming 7 hours, right? So the next one is Shifan working 23 hours. So I am going to enter 23 and I am going to be serve this one. So now we have done the fifth step. First process is attendant process. The second is payroll process. Based on the attendant process, we have to create the payroll process. So if you want to create the payroll process, you can choose other vouchers. The second one is payroll. I am going to be choose. I am going to do the payroll process right now. So first I am going to click the autofill. If I click the autofill, the type of transaction payroll autofill, and the process is salary, and then starting date we are going to be pay July month salary. So 1st July 2022, 31st July 2020. Then employees group I am going to choose all items, the short by employee's name. Payroll I am going to be transfer this payroll into salary payable, because up to salary paid it will be the current liability for the organization. That's what I am going to be choose the salary payable. And now you can see all the people salary. So the first one is basic salary, dearness allowance, medical allowance, overtime allowance, food allowance, traveling allowance, employees contribution EPF, right? But one pay head not coming. What is this? One of the pay head not coming. What is this? This is house loan. Because this house loan we have separately, the house loan we are going to be pay, right? Because this is the user defined. That's what house loan not appear here, right? Other things are coming. You can see. Okay. So perfectly correct. So now I am going to be enter and accept. Reminder, the house loan not coming here. We have to do another payroll for the separately house loan because this is the user defined. We have to enter the manually the amount, right? So I am going to be accept. The next we have to be create another payroll for the house loan. So I am going to be click the autofill and payroll auto. So now I am going to be process for user defined. So the user defined 1st April 2020 to 31st 7 2020 and all item employee's name and salary payable it will be transferred. So you can see right now we have to enter the house loan one by one. In the questions you can see Shifan 8,500, Nihar 10,500, Fiham 12,500 have taken as a house loan and it should be deducted July month. So I am going to be enter the Shifan 8,500, Fiham how much? Fiham 12,500, then Nihar 10,500, then Shifan 8,500. It should be deducted, right? So I am going to be serve this one also, right? So this is also we have done. Now the third step is payment process. The company opening balance available. So we have to enter before we have to be create the payment, right? So I am going to be enter the company opening balance. I am going to be enter the company opening balance. I am going to enter. So the ledger. So the cash on hand is the default account. So I am going to be I'm going to press the page up key. You can see cash. Cash on hand how much? I am going to be enter 350,000. 350,000. I am going to be debit. The next one is HSBC Bank 625. HSBC Bank. It is coming under the bank account. I am going to be choose the bank account. It's how much? How much? 625,000. Then final one is capital account 975,000. So the capital so coming under the capital account. And how much that one? 975,000. Then I am going to be ready. So now you can see the opening balance tally, right? So the final process is, what is the final process? We have to be payment process. They inform that as per the question, the company transfer the salary through HSBC bank check and July salary paid by using check 000212. So we have to be paid through the bank. Bank or cash, we have to choose the payment voucher, right? So I'm back to the gateway of Tally and I'm going to click the vouchers and we have to be transfer the salary to the employees. So I'm going to choose what is the voucher? Payment voucher, because we are going to be paid. So the payment voucher already selected. I'm going to be click the autofill. So you can see that payroll autofill. I'm going to click the payroll autofill. This is the salary payment. And then salary for 1st July 2020 to 31st July 2020. The voucher date also same, 31st July 2020. Employees group all items, and the ledger is, it's coming from salary payable, and we are going to be paid through the bank, HSBC bank. So we are going to use the bank check also. So I am going to be select HSBC bank and use the use mode for the payment transaction. I am going to be type no, and I am going to be look this one, right. So I am going to be, everything is perfect. So I am going to be serve this one, and it's asking the amount is 145,675 for all 3%, and we have to enter the check number. You can see that the check number is, what is the check number? 0000212 and then date is 31st July 2020. Then I am going to be serve this one. So now we have successfully completed the payroll process, right? So I hope you understand.